Over the last several years, there has been a huge debate online in the film industry regarding gender-bending iconic roles, specifically in the action genre, trying to give female leads their heroic moment on screen. But Ballerina, the newest installment in the John Wick franchise, proves that the key to women leading iconic series without this controversy is creating roles and stories that are specifically crafted with that feminine perspective. Who would have thought that that was the missing element? Ballerina, if you haven't seen it yet, it continues in the John Wick tradition of intense violence, high body counts, and a central character hell-bent on revenge. But instead of Keanu this time, Ballerina stars Ana de Armas as Eve, a woman who joins the Roma Rauska, the kind of organization that John Wick is associated with, after she is orphaned and she becomes a dancer, thus Ballerina. I really love this element of the film because one of the amazing parts of John Wick that I always forget after it's been a while since I've seen one of the movies is how seeped in lore this franchise really is. Like how much there are different organizations, different rules, different customs that each of these different organizations that these assassins are associated with, and this like underbelly of the world, how they all have this like storied history, and it's so fun to get to explore in this film a little bit further. Ana is wonderful in this role. She balances the quiet intensity that the series lead of Keanu Reeves as John Wick has always had, but she finds a way to add this slightly rogue element. As I was writing this review, I feel like a lot of these things are very nuanced, and you either probably saw it in the film or you don't, so it's a little bit harder for me to describe. She has this rogue element to her character that kind of works, whereas her revenge is not something that was happened to her after she made certain life choices. It was something that happened to her as a young child that she had to witness. It's a deep emotional wound, and she has grown up in this life training to try to be somebody who is as feared as Baba Yaga. But unlike John Wick, she's unknown to this world, so there's not that classic, like, you don't know who you mess with, that's John Wick, he's the boogeyman. But instead, she has this kind of element of she's still sort of learning the rules of this world, not only in her training, which we get to see a little bit of in this film, but also just in the way that missions can go sideways, things can go complicated. We get to see a new character play with these rules and make potentially slightly different decisions than John Wick would have made, which is super fun. We get to see her struggle at the Roma Rauska as not the greatest dancer. We get to see her amongst her female peers. We get to see her strive for greatness and desire to be respected, feared, and taken seriously, but then also put in these very real world situations where it's incredibly clear that she is smaller, that she is not as skilled of a fighter, that she's going toe to toe with people who have been in this life far longer than she has, despite her basically entire life being revolved around this. It also brings up these elements of the fact that she has to fight different. So the physicality of this film is much different than it is for Keanu Reeves in those films. Eve has slightly different skills and a slightly different approach to engaging in these altercations than John Wick would. And she's a little bit quicker to anger. She's a little bit quicker to the attack, but she's not necessarily as skilled. And like I said, she is smaller. And so we just see a woman fighting a man in a different context and different way than a man would fight another man. And I think that's played in so many really interesting ways. And I think it was really thought through in terms of Ana de Armas is a smaller woman. What does this film require in terms of its physicality if she's going to be the star? And again, I know all of this seems so common sense. Like, obviously, yes, if you have a female action star, the film needs to be centered around her. But this character has a heart to her that I think in so many female insert action movies, the female character is not developed in the way that one would be. I think there's also this kind of surprise plotline in this that I don't want to go into because of spoilers, but it very much mirrors some of Eve's experiences and allows for a different side of her to be seen in a way that I think, again, is more unique for a woman's perspective than it is from a man's. And this is not like a judgment thing on like good, bad. I'm just saying this has been such a talked about topic in film discourse, and I think this film really nailed it, and it's really hard to articulate why, but I just feel like it did, and so that's why I urge you to go see it. This movie also thematically does not concern itself with, ooh, she's a girl boss, ooh, she's the best fighter. Like, I feel like that's a common trope. Here, instead of going, you know what, Eve actually as talented as John Wick, we don't play that same game. And I think that is the kind of thing that audiences are going to appreciate the most, because if they were to have come in and been like, this is the most skilled female assassin and she can take down John Wick, she can take down literally anybody who's ever, like, he's ever struggled to take down, it just would feel disingenuous. And this film handles that with this tightrope that it kind of walks. Her being a woman does change this film. It does change this franchise, and I think it does it in a really fresh, unique way that does not tarnish the legacy of the John Wick franchise, but rather expands it and allows for different possibilities and different stories to be told, as well as different fighting styles and different approaches to the storytelling. But additionally, I do think it makes a point to not make the story about how she's a girl boss, about how she's amazing. And I think this all comes down to the care in the writing. I think if you are casting a female lead in an action franchise, your approach to the story needs to be slightly different. That's not to say that your key character flaws or the struggle of the character really needs to be gendered, but I do think considering that physicality, and in this film it's almost explicitly stated that because she is smaller, she's going to have to approach things differently. And I think that adds an added layer of stakes to the film, that this character isn't just uniquely skilled and qualified and amazing and therefore can do whatever hurdles the movie throws at her. And so while that is a tightrope, all of these things being empowering for women, being not knocking people over the head with themes of like female empowerment, allowing the story to be feminine while also existing in this franchise that has become successful because of Keanu Reeves playing a male assassin character. Balancing all of those things is a tightrope. It's a thin line to toe. But Ballerina, I think, does it, wearing its point shoes expertly. And that's why I think you should go catch it while it's in theaters. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more from me, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. That does a lot helping me out on the channel. And let me know in the comments if you're still watching, which you're the best, which John Wick movie is your favorite. I feel like mine has to be John Wick 2. But I haven't seen them all in a while, so I couldn't tell you definitively. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in my very next video. Bye, guys.